Hi, I'm Felix-Jager. I am the Chair of Worship Arts and Media at Life Pacific Uollege, and today I want to talk a little bit about the role of the worship pastor in the contemporary church today. In the past couple of decades, churches have looked for youth pastors, children's pastors. There's different emphases and they push different things in different times. There seems to be a trend going on today, though, that they are looking for worship pastors. In fact, I was looking at an interdenominational church staffing site just yesterday, and I typed in keywords next to pastor to see what job postings would come up, and these are jobs across the U.S. If I typed in small group, 110 jobs came up. Associate pastor, 103. Children's pastor, 186. Youth pastor, 165. Young adult pastor, 27. But then worship pastor, 358. That tells me a couple of things. It tells me, one, that churches are prioritizing worship pastors. They need the worship to be done right in a service. That's basically the second thing they're looking for after the lead pastor or the senior pastor is established at that church. And two, it means that instead of in the past, maybe they had a youth pastor or children's pastor that could play an instrument. And they were like, hey, do you play guitar? Can you lead songs for us? And then they would go that way. Instead, now, they're looking for the worship pastor and being like, hey, can you lead a youth group or can you lead a college group? So there's a reversal in how these roles go. And if a worship pastor is fully equipped, theologically and pastorally, then they can actually handle other things. And the music part is just kind of this established thing that they would have coming in. Christian thinkers are starting to acknowledge more and more that we are holistic beings. And what that means is that we are both body and spirit. We aren't just one or the other. It is completely appropriate to say that we are bodies. It's completely appropriate to say that we are spirit. We're both. It's a both and. And to think about this, when when our worship forms us, when we go to church and we're being formed spiritually, if there's only a focus on one, then it's not a full human formation. And so when we come into this world bodily. Before we ever even cognize or rationalize things, we get this sense that this world is spatial, that this world is temporal, that our experiences go in this kind of a flow, and we get that experience by just literally being in this world as bodies. And then the rationalization, the cognization sets into a structure the things that we have already come to know through our bodies. The point is, when we experience things, we are experiencing things through our five senses, and those five senses are evaluated aesthetically. We come to understand things then through an aesthetic formation. And so while the gospel being preached reaches our head and our heart, speaks to our heart too and our emotions, the faith being sung, seen, felt, and experienced reaches the heart and the emotions in another way, in a completely different way, in a way that is aesthetic, that goes with the cognization as well. They need to work together in tandem. They need to work together for our holistic formation as Christians. And when that happens, then we are acknowledging the fact that this is the way humans work. We're bodies and spirit. And then we are fully loving God, worshiping God in fullness and in truth. And we come to an understanding where our maturity is as holistic people. So it's totally appropriate to call worship pastors pastors, because they are shepherding their flock in a different way, in a way that is aesthetic, but it's part of their holistic formation. So let's make sure that we are training our worship pastors to be good at music, to be good at creative arts and productions and getting all that in there. But then let's also train them to be pastors ministerially, to know how to shepherd a flock and to bring them to a sense of spiritual formation.